Yeah, don't tell everyone that. I'll upset the RS4 owners.
Hello guys, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome to another Cheap Thrills video. This time it is all about a hot hatchback from the Czech Republic that may look a bit reserved, but it packs a punch. It is of course the Skoda Octavia vRS. This video of course features the Mk1, but you can get a Mark II for under £5,000 as well. The Mk1 was built on the same platform as the Mark IV Golf, the Mk1 Audi A3 and the Mk1 Leon. Under the bonnet, you will find a 1.8 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine, which is good for 180 horsepower and 235 newton meters of torque. You will hit 62 miles per hour in 7.9 seconds, and the top speed is 144 miles per hour. That means that the time this was built, this was the fastest production model that Skoda had ever built, and that also meant this was one of the weapons of choice for the UK police because it had a fair amount of performance and it had quite subtle looks. Anyway, that's enough numbers out the way. How does it drive? Let's find out. So guys, you join me in the Octavia vRS, which this one is called Otto, and I've got the owner sat to my left hand side, fellow YouTuber and good friend Chris from Dreams2Drive. He's very kindly let me have a drive in Otto, and before you moan and complain, we've both had our COVID jabs, we've done our tests, we are negative, so you know, step away from the keyboard and just be happy in life for once. Right, anyway, miniature van over. Let's see what this can do. Normally a good start to start the engine. Now I have driven an Octavia vRS Mark 1, but that was a very long time ago, and this one isn't exactly standard, although I'd say it's more OEM plus. So Chris, talk us through what you've done to it.
So what I've done to it is put the wing on, but when I bought it, the dealer who sold it to me, I don't think he knew what was on it, but on further investigation it turns out it's got a full silicone hose set on there, pipe across air filter, forged blow-off valve, a full Miltech exhaust, I-back springs, I-back anti-roll bars. So yeah, but I put the wing on because everything else was done. Yeah, that's about it really. So I'd reckon around, I think maybe 210, but I haven't had it dynoed, so I can't be sure.
Yeah. The induction noise is nice.
Yeah, it's just there's a panel filter going straight through the airbox, but it sounds all right.
Yeah, it does sound pretty good.
Yeah.
It's responsive as well.
Yeah.
I thought it may seem a little bit, not pedestrian, but I thought it would be quite a large step down from my Land Cupra, which of course has got a bit more power. But it's got enough go, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, it will definitely. Yeah, it's enough at the moment for what I need it to be, and through these sort of B roads that we're bashing around at the moment, you know, it's all right. It's got the get up and go for it.
So 5-speed manual.
5-speed manual.
Not available with an automatic.
Thank goodness.
DSG.
Well, as I said, before the DSGs came in, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So DSGs came in for the Golf R32 Mark IV, and well, worldwide the Mark 1 TT, of course.
Yeah.
Which I've recently featured on the channel as well.
Yeah.
Even though this car is on I-Bark, low.
I-back springs, yeah.
Yeah. The ride quality is really good, and although this is my first time driving the car, I have been a passenger in this car before, and I was astounded by the ride quality and the comfort. Yeah, the chassis it's got a nice suppleness to it, but still enough for a hot hatch.
Yeah, when you get into the twisties, it is confidence inspiring. You know, you can get into the corners, you can get in and out safely.
These seats are comfortable, but
they're not Recaros.
No, I would want a bit more support. particularly when you're cornering hard.
Yeah.
You get a sense it's more of a
sport seat.
Yeah, it's more a bit more comfort biased.
Yeah, definitely. It's more. Yeah, it's definitely built. I mean, this was meant to be for the motorways.
Yeah.
I drive this to Wales, which is about 250 miles on a regular basis, and you can just sit at 70, and it will just be happy.
It's got good cornering, as you would expect. Steering's not too bad.
Nope.
Bit light, but to be honest with you, I've driven older Volkswagen Automotive Group cars, specifically my Seat Ibiza FR, and the steering on that was laughable, sort of so comically light, I should say. I could steer it with my little finger. Yeah. Right, and open auto up. Trigger the traction control then.
Yeah.
Wow. And to think you can pick these up, particularly a Mark 1. I looked at Auto Trader last night just for a laugh. You can get these for under £2,000.
Yeah, I paid $1,200 for this.
$1,200?
$1,200, and that's because he didn't know what the mods were or anything else.
That is stonking value.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I think it's very, very understated. It's definitely undervalued as well.
And as I said in my intro, or part of my intro, you can get a Mark II for under £5,000 as well, and still get change.
Yep.
Have some money left over for a mod, a remap perhaps, an exhaust. You got a Miltech exhaust in this, haven't you?
Yeah. So I would say if you were to get one of these and put, I don't know, maybe £1,000 into it, that will get you everything this has already got.
Yeah.
And you've got a really very capable car, but it still keeps all the practicality.
Yeah, and because it's a Volkswagen, sorry to interrupt you, Chris. Because it's a Volkswagen Automotive Group car, getting parts for it's going to be easy as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's dead easy.
Despite this car being, it's almost 20 years old.
It is 20 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, on a 51 plate.
Modern classic.
Yeah, yes. And I think it was 40 years now before it can be tax exempt, but yeah, it's it still feels tight as well. It still doesn't feel rickety at all. Like if you were to compare the equivalent, maybe a GM sort of car, Ford or Vauxhall, that sort of thing, it probably wouldn't hold up as well.
I'd say, if I'm going to be super critical, the steering does feel a tad vague.
Yep.
You kind of turn in and
doesn't happen straight away.
It's not the sharpest track going, but hey, who am I to complain? This is a car that is 20 years old, so.
But I think that's down to...
That is quite picky, if I'm going to be honest.
That's fine. I think that's down to that whole parts bin thing, where if you could take the equivalent steering rack, and there's that bit there from the equivalent Audi TT, and then you get better steering, better handling. So it's just what they didn't put into it.
Yeah, I drove a Mark 1 TT last weekend or the weekend before.
Yeah.
The steering was quite similar. I'd say the TT was a bit sharper, a bit more focused, but it was a slightly newer car.
Yeah. I do look at other cars, but then I go back to this and I think, well, this is a Corrado. Yeah, Corrado's very nice.
Oh, that must have been a VR6.
Yeah.
That was music to my ears. It's well worth being interrupted for. You were saying?
I was just saying, I look at other cars. I have been thinking of getting into something else, but then I look at the practicality this offers and what I need it for, and I'm struggling to find something else to replace it properly. The boost comes on really well as well. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, you'd think for an older car.
Yeah.
I know it's not that much older than my Leon. There's only 6 years between them. But you think you might get a turbo lag and you hit 3,000 revs and you get all the boost in one big dollop.
No,
but
so
I think it's quite linear. It's quite smooth with its delivery.
So I think where you will have something like a KO4, I've got a KO3, it's a smaller turbo, so there probably isn't that much lag, but it will run out of puff at the top of sooner up the rev range.
Well, I think the power delivery is quite linear. It pulls quite nicely to the red line. You do get a sense that it does lose a bit of momentum towards the end, but it's nothing really worth complaining about.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the whole idea of this series is, of course, to have fun cars that are cheap. So, of course, this is cheap to buy.
Yeah.
But how have you found it to maintain it? That's the burning question.
So, do you know what? I haven't spent that much on it really. The last year the gearbox went, which for a nigh on 20-year-old car was expected, and the bill was around £800 for a box, labour, and a DMF, the dual mass flywheel.
That's not bad.
Which is nothing, but that's with I think I bought a new DMF.
Yeah.
I found a reconditioned box, and the labour was done by a garage, so that was all good.
How much was the DMF? By the way, guys, if you're wondering what, that's a dual mass flywheel.
So that was, I don't know, 170.
What?
Yeah, 170. It's not much.
It's peanuts for
exactly.
a dual mass flywheel.
Yeah. So that was easy. Other than that, I think I did the pads all round for 80, and they're Brembo pads.
Yeah. Decent.
There's nothing else. There's nothing other than the gearbox. There's been nothing major. The last MOT cost me the MOT. That was it.
Yeah. Wow.
Sorry, and a bulb for the non plate.
A bulb.
A bulb.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
Now you've said that changes everything.
All. So yeah, maintenance-wise, they're really easy. You can get decent tyres as well for them, which is really good. What else? So running costs.
Yeah. What kind of fuel economy are you getting?
So I can get, I think, on a run. So I drive about an hour to work every day. Well, when I go into work.
Yeah.
48 miles to the gallon.
48?
Yeah, I get
48
to the gallon.
You must have the feet of a ballet dancer, just barely touching the pedals.
Yeah, no, it will
hypermiling for fun.
It will sit happily at 70, just below 3,000 revs, and it doesn't feel like it's nothing to the car. It'll just sit there. So I can get to Wales and back and use. I can do 250 miles and get there with just under half a tank.
That's decent.
So that's fine. Around town, it's easy. I think because it's a small turbo, I don't have to gun it to really get performance out of around town.
Yeah.
So I can pull out of busy roads and things. It's fine. Yeah. It's again it's such a great all rounder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think of cheap hot hatches, okay, some would class this as a saloon, but it has got a hatchback.
It's a hatchback, yeah.
So for me, it's a hatchback,
yeah.
Although it does look more saloon-like in its kind of profile.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are such good value, yet these get overlooked. Now, I'd be honest, when I bought Leo, my Leon Cooper, I did look at one of these. The only reason I didn't is, if I'm going to be truthful, I just wanted something a bit more exciting.
Yeah, I think. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's a weird. I think until you've driven one, you might not get it. You might not get it. And friends of mine who have not really been impressed with this, and then they've been in it, and they've gone, actually, I do kind of understand why you get one of these. And I think, like you said, cheap thrills for £1,200-1,500 to get into one of these. Yeah. And you're gonna have fun in it, but it will still remain very practical.
Yeah, pound for pound, these. Yeah. The Octavia vRS has to be one of the hot hatch bargains. Oh, surely.
Definitely. And if you wanted to buy this and then do a bunch of upgrades, they're not going to cost the earth, because you can just go to, basically you can take what you want out of an Audi, because you can get, for example, the equivalent Audi S3 brakes into this. You could get the leather Recaros from Golfs, or you could even, if you can find them, the Koenigs from a Golf R32. That would be easy. You can upgrade the suspension, all those arms, the steering rack from Audi TTs. All that stuff is easy, and it won't cost the earth, because those cars are older now and they're quite cheap as well. Or you could go the whole hog and put an R32 lump in it, twin turbo, which has been done, and that's quite impressive. So I think, I think they're just underrated. And
seriously underrated. I'd say the badge and the way it looks is a large
is bound to be a large factor. But on the plus side, now I've actually driven this car. Well, like I said, I drove an Octavia vRS a long time ago, but that was only a brief drive. You drive it and you understand why the UK police use these, because for your average motorist, you're going to look at this car and it's quite unassuming. You're not going to think, oh, that's going to be fast.
Yeah.
So you can quite easily be on the motorway looking for crims, just quite low key. And all of a sudden put blues and twos on and you're Nick Sunshine.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's the map in this or if it's just standard, but on the motorway this will sit at 70 just under boost. So the boost won't be on. You won't be in boost until you plant your foot at 70 to overtake. Yeah. And you will suddenly just take off. So it's, I don't know if it's just the way it's geared or that's how it's set up, but it does a very good job of being a really good motorway muncher. Like for the long journey where you're sat down for 400 miles, you get out and you don't feel it.
But in some respects, it almost feels like. Now, some people will scoff at me for saying this. It almost feels like a Grand Tourer.
Oh yeah, I did the south coast to Manchester in 6 hours and just hopped out and just carried on up my day. And
that brings me quite nicely onto a good point. This is also available as an estate.
Yes, it is.
Or a wagon, if you prefer.
Yes, it is. And I've known a couple of guys who've had them, and they love them. They're fantastic. It's like the poor man's RS4.
That's a good way of putting it, though.
Yeah, don't tell everyone that. I'll upset the RS4 owners.
It's a thinking man's RS4.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. Decent turn circle. There we are. Yeah, the estate must be.
Yeah.
You've got more space to go with the pace.
Yeah. You can get. There is a. You can get the 1.8 turbo 4x4. No, it's not a VRS, but it is a 4x4 turbo. 1.8 4x4 turbo.
Yeah.
So you could do that. Do the KO forward. Watch that whole.
Yeah. I've got it.
And that whole.
And that one. I've got it.
And do uprated turbo. Do stage 2. That sort of stuff. So you would get much better performance in a 4x4 estate.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you wanted to.
Before we kind of sign off, if someone's watching this with a view of buying either a Mark 1 or Mark 2, what would be your kind of top tips?
Get it. No, I would just say
buy it. There we are.
Buy it. Just make sure it's been maintained properly. I would also say definitely get a hold of the guys in the Mk1 Octi forum on Facebook. They're really friendly chaps, always helpful, and will always give out really great advice. But they're quite safe to buy. It's hard. I don't know if many people have bought these at this age and bought a lemon.
Yeah.
They just don't. There's not much to go wrong, and they don't go wrong often. So I think they're pretty safe purchases, and you can have a lot of fun in them for not a lot of money.
And also, given the age of the car, if there's a good chance that examples that would have had a serious problem would have had them by now.
Yeah. And it
would have been rectified, and if they did have a serious problem, they probably would have been scrapped because of they wouldn't, because of the value and age of the vehicle. So the ones left over, they're bound to be good.
Yeah.
Obviously, my disclaimer is that if you buy a lemon, me or Chris, we aren't responsible. No. That's on you. But our point is that really, as Chris says, make sure it's had the relevant service history, had the cam belts replaced at the correct time, and so forth. I'd say this is one of those cars where, as long as you give it the TLC it deserves,
regular maintenance,
it will look after you, and it's not that much you need to really look out for. If you're looking for a hot hatch and you're on a really tight budget, I would urge you to look at this. Yes, it isn't the most exciting to look at, but I would urge you to look past that, take it out for a test drive and see what you think, because I think you will be pleasantly surprised. A massive thank you for Chris for letting me drive Otto. Not really too sure what else to say. I think this is a solid use of £5,000, and you're bound to get a fair amount of change as well.
You could buy 2 for £5,000, possibly 3.
You could buy one for daily. You can buy one and turn it into a track car or something.
Yes, you definitely could.
Yeah, make it into a proper project. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I do hope you have enjoyed it. If so, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to check out Chris's channel as well, Dreams2Drive. We'll pop a link in the video description as well. Before I forget, because I have forgotten so far, don't forget to check out my merch as well. You know you want to check it out. But yes, if you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time, guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.